Hi there. I was thinking it may be helpful to some of you that I share with you how I compile the signatures that go into our journals. For some of you, this is nothing new and you don't even probably want to watch it because it would be boring. But for others of you, there may be some things you could learn and incorporate into your style. And my goal is to just share what I have found really helpful when I am trying to select my papers and the other items to build the signature that will go into my journal. I have way more papers here than I would need for one journal. In fact, what I have here would probably make at least 3 or 4. But that's the way I tend to work, and I just accumulate different papers and digitals and go from there. So what I've got here are 2 sets of some themes that I have printed out. These are for the seaside, and this particular grouping is very, very neutral, very pastel, very vintage looking, and monochromatic. So you could add any color, accent color, to your pages and really go from there. So I have tea dyed them all there. I use a laser printer and then I tea dye my papers because I find the colors are just so vibrant and the ink does not ever run, so I can tea dye them or get them wet and it's never a problem. This other collection of digitals is much brighter, as you can see. So a lot more vibrant, bold colors. And for our seaside soiree that we're having in June in San Diego, we've got 2 basic color themes. One would be the sunrise and one would be sunset. So more neutral, pastel, more vibrant and deeper colored. So that's why I'm choosing to go with 2 different options here, just to give you some great ideas. And then I've pulled together all kinds of digital paper, or sorry, papers that are not digitals, of course. They are vintage and antique. I've got Edith Holden book page, some rag paper, paper from a book with a beautiful image on it that I want to use, some Bible book pages, some poetry, some Shakespeare, and some music sheets. And then I've got a paper bag that could be used, larger music sheets, and of course I've been saving this one because it's titled "Oh Come to the Sea." Then I've got some lined music note paper, some lined journal paper, and one is in cream color, one is white. Generally I don't use white, but every now and then I do, just for contrast. And of course the white can always be tea dyed as well. Then I've got some very cool ledger papers and such that I have pulled together. Look at this. This is just amazing. Of course, I always have to check the date. I think that's 1911. Can't quite read it. I've got some vellum paper, and then I've got some paper that I have avocado dyed and spritzed with my shimmer mist that I make myself. Just some regular tea dyed paper, some lined papers, and then I've got all kinds of different types of parchment, granite, and cotton papers that are just a little bit more fibrous perhaps and a different texture. I love the different weights. I also have some papers that I've purchased. This is avocado dyed and it has the rose gold metallic spritz paint on it. This is the coffee dyed version with the metallic gold spritzing on it. And then I have tea dyed some tracing paper. I just love the sound of that. And then what I usually do too is, in the same tones that I want to use for my theme of the journal, I usually just tea dye some basic cardstock. Not the heavyweight though, the lighter weight. And usually I always use 24-pound Hammermill paper, really premium quality. I just find that it doesn't tear as easily, and it's just so much more useful. So what I'm probably going to do now is just take a minute and stop the video. I'm going to trim some of these papers so that they're going to fit in the journal. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that. Some of them I'm going to rip, and you could certainly rip all of yours. But the one thing I would advise you to do strongly, of course, is to remove all the white borders from the edges of your pages. Don't leave any white borders on there. It just looks so much better when the image goes right to the end of the page. So there we go. And then I will come back in a few minutes. So you can see that I have folded all the pages pretty much in half, some of them not. And now comes the fun part of compiling them into the order that you would like them. Also, I was going to mention, if there are any of you that would like to see a video on how I tea dye my papers, please feel free to just leave me a comment or a note, and I'd be happy to do that. It's nothing rocket science, but it is a little different than a lot of other people do it. I dip them and then lay them out to dry flat. I never put them in the oven. I never iron them. They don't need it. They're just sharp and crisp, and I love it. So what I usually do is I have, let's say we've got 15 pages per signature. I've got more than I need. Like I mentioned, I think I've got 11 of each of these and tons of these to choose from. So I'm going to put this little stack over here. And then what I'm going to do is maybe start with this one. When I look at something like this a little closely, I would also blend them together so that there are some of this theme in with this one, just to give it variety. And to tone this one down a bit, I would add some of these. But for right now, for this exercise, I'm just going to show you my method, which is pretty simple. I use 2 or 3 pages of digital papers, and then what I would call a specialty paper, or a book page, or a music page, or a colored sheet of parchment paper, or avocado dyed paper. And then I do 2 more, and then another one, and 2 more, and I just alternate like that until I get it to look the way I am happy with. So with that said, I'm going to take this one and this one, just put them inside, and then I'm going to take this one, the music sheet. What I would like to emphasize is something I learned from one of the creators that I followed very early on, is when you have writing and you're not going to do it in the normal reading fashion, you're going to flip it on the side, always do your papers in the same direction, so that if somebody's looking at your book, your journal, and trying to read it, it makes sense to just tip it to the one side rather than which way should I do it kind of thing. And then this one, what I did was, it was too long, but I don't want to cut any of that off, so I just make a flap here. And then I would take, let's take some from the back, 2 more. And then I'm going to put in a colored one. That's pink parchment paper. And I'm going to take some book page. I've got some Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So I've got this direction. Actually, I might do it before I put in the pink sheet. And then I've got some Shakespeare that I'm going to put here. And the reason I like to stagger, I love the staggered look, both on the side and top to bottom. Then I'm going to add my pink sheet. And then I'm going to add a piece of the pink avocado dyed and rose gold spritzed papers. And then I'm going to add 2 more of the digitals. And you don't have to use digital by any means. You can use all specialty papers if you like, or antique or vintage, whatever you would really like. And then I'm gonna go to do a tea-dyed tracing paper. And when I use something like this, I like to put something in front of it that's got a nice little image so that it peeks through from this side and makes you wonder what it is. Then I am going to do one of these papers. I love the text, the script. And now I'm going to explain about this paper. This is very antique and it's extremely brittle. So I ripped it okay, but when you fold it, it's just going to tear. So what I would do is reinforce it. I don't like using washi tape because it's very, very awkward to try and stitch it through when you're sewing your signatures into your journal. So I would just use lace or some soft fabric and just cover the crease, and then it's good and it's strengthened. All right, let's do maybe one more. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I've got 15, 16. Okay, I am going to let's take it out. And I don't really want that, I don't think, for the center of my signature. So I'm going to just flip these around. And I like the look of that. So there is one signature, 15 pages, easy peasy. Now if I look at this, I have 4 more sheets and a whole ton of these, so I could keep going with that. I'm going to just put it aside for now and go to this other one. And I will take this. I always try to decide ahead of time what my focal point or first page of my signature is going to be. I just like the biggest impact in the front. And you have to forgive me, I always gravitate towards pink. And there is a lot of pinky, corally colors in this particular signature. So I'm going to do that. And I thought I had another music sheet, but I've got some rag paper here. Let's have a go at that. Gorgeous. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. I'm going to put this in here. And that gives me 4. And then I'm going to do 2 more digitals. So 1, 2. Then I'm going to take my vellum paper, and to me this looks like it goes with the coral really nicely. And then I'm going to put another digital in there. And then I'm going to go for this beautiful ledger paper. Much more durable quality than the other one, just different type of paper. And I love it because it is facing this way. I decided ahead of time that I wanted the little tuck spot, the flap at the top rather than the bottom, because the bottom of your signature generally gets quite heavy when you load it with tags and such. Okay, and then let's do a couple more of these. Beautiful sailing ship. And we've got that we haven't used. Some granite paper. Beautiful. Let's count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, and I should have some more book page in here somewhere. 14, 15. These, sometimes technically people don't even count them as pages. I usually always do, because they still add width to your journal, your signature. So that, I believe, is 15, and I could stop there. So as you can see, it's pretty simple, pretty basic. So I have 2 signatures now that are 15 pages each. Also, if you look at them, you can see that because you're tucking page in after page, the paper's edges on the inside towards the middle stick out a little bit more. I usually don't even trim them unless I am completely not embellishing the page sides, but I never trim them because I'm going to add lace or something decorative to the sides, so I don't even worry about it, but you certainly can do that. And this one is that piece of delicate ledger paper that does need to be trimmed. That one's sticking out quite a bit. So there we go. And you can always add things like an envelope. I mentioned you can decorate the sides. I usually like to put an envelope on a page that does not have much detail on it. So this will add detail to that page. And you can certainly copy on both sides of the paper. A lot of people do that. I think I have some lace somewhere around here. I was going to show you. What you can also do is do a little bit of a lace page. You can either secure it to your other pages, or you can just leave it loose. So for example, I would call this veiling a page, and I would just take the lace, drape it over the entire page. You can leave some over the edge if you like, and then I would just gently run a thin line of glue right down the middle, right down the center, and then attach it. And then it's up to you if you want to sew it here, sew it there, sew it there. And then you've got some pockets or tuck spots. What a beautiful effect. That's just so lovely. And you can use all kinds of ribbon, velvet, you know, different textiles on the edges of your papers to create a beautiful, beautiful effect. And that's what I wanted to share with you, is just my little simple technique of compiling your signatures. And I hope that this is helpful to you. And perhaps if you need more information, just send me a message or leave a comment, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.